So I'm actually Canadian, so just we have a diverse group of people here on our panel. So I'll just get started. So hi, I'm Melissa. Thank you for the opportunity to present our work. My only disclosure is that we did have a grant by SAGES for this, and for my 7 seconds, this is what brings me the most joy, these guys up there. So for our background, women tend to report more career-related burnout than men, and that gender gap actually increases with increasing levels of education, which most of us may not understand. And women in surgery face many challenges, including higher rates of gender-related inequity in terms of their promotion, increasing salary inequity, as well as variety in suicidal ideation and increased work-home conflicts compared to men. And the purpose of our study was conducted by the RPS task force was to explore how gender may influence the surgeon well-being to inform organizational change. So we based this based on our previous work from last year, showing we did a survey based on prior interview data and came up with these 5 domains to further examine this phenomenon. We used a convenience sample where we sent this survey out to all SAGES members and then created our data analysis from there. One of the first questions we asked was, how much time do you spend working each week? And as you can tell, the majority of us spend a lot of time working. The one interesting thing here was that from our population at least, women were reported to work, people reporting to work less than 50 hours a week. There was more commonly to be men rather than women, despite the literature showing that more women work part-time. In terms of responses to barriers to joy, how we did the data was basically the top number is your mean score, and then the percent reporting a high score in that domain being 3 or 4. And then we looked at the men to women difference of that mean score of those reporting high number in that area. And then we looked at something being significant being more than 10% difference between men and women. So here you can see that the highest rated barrier to joy was staffing shortages at 80% overall, but there was no notable gender differences. Similarly, for response to time for work tasks, there were no significant gender-related differences here, and all of these things we see were things that were brought up in our original interviews as issues in terms of where we may not have enough time. In terms of what would you do with more time, again, there weren't a lot of gender differences here, but I wanted to highlight the 3 things that were where people wanted more time with, and the vast majority, 96% of all respondents, felt that they would spend more of that time if they had more time with family and friends, followed by more recreational activities, and then more operative cases was the 3rd thing, but that was the highest rated item in terms of an actual work-based item. And here you can see that unlike all the other ones where there was a positive value in the men-women difference, here unanimously throughout everything, it seems like women are finding that they want more time in almost all of these areas. 2 of them that stand out in terms of a greater than 10% difference was more social time with their colleagues and more community outreach. In terms of facilitators for joy, again, here the issue was more that overall, you can see that there was a gender difference with more men finding joy in these things compared to women. However, unanimously, the first few items were all, we all know that we all love surgery, we love curing disease, we love the technical skills required to do surgery and operating itself. But the 3 areas where there was a gender difference was in teaching, being a leader in my field, and leading clinical care teams. The teaching was one of the more surprising ones, and it was the highest difference between men and women, with only 55.4% of women rating this highly compared to 75% of men. Similarly, when you look at support for best work, again here the differences were that women were finding overall less support compared to their male counterparts. With the one I wanted to highlight was the majority of the time I have what I need to be the best teacher I can be, with women rating this less highly. Compared to men, which was similar to what we found in the other category. And then the other one was the first one at the top, which is found in other literature as well, that most of the time I feel respected at work by my colleagues. I was surprised overall at the low number of people that felt respected by their colleagues overall, but that women, only half of us really felt that we were feeling respected at work by our colleagues most of the time. In terms of influence of career stage, this is probably one of the things that has swayed a little bit of our responses, is that in the early career stages, there were more, overall, if you actually looked at all the numbers from early, mid, and late, it was almost the same percentage of people in each category. However, the components of which ones were men or women in each stage were clearly quite different, with early being more women than men, mid being slightly more men than women, and then in late, there was only actually 5 women in the more than 20 years in practice compared to 66 men. So that has an impact on our results. So in conclusion, this highlights that there are gender differences that lead to or detract from joy, and there are opportunities to improve gender-based support to improve joy. And in terms of future work, we want to see if this is reproducible outside of SAGES, because as we know, SAGES members and those that come to SAGES meetings are highly involved and very supported. And well, does this pan out in terms of the general surgeon in the community or the general surgeon at your institution? And we need to further define what these gender differences are that influence joy in surgery, and then use this all to create a framework to create joy assurance plans and advocacy efforts at your own institutions. Thank you.